Jordan from cracked.com, which is still a thing, yes. And we
It
have
is.
we have a collaboration, I think, going live in an hour at the time of recording this.
Correct.
And I've just invited you on the podcast just to talk about it and just like give some background on how that came about, and also to shoot the shit. So how you been and what you've been up to?
I'm good. I feel like the biggest thing that I'm working on is I recently watched all 8 Saw movies in a week, and then
That's more than one a day.
Oh my god!
You can't even watch one per day.
Well, I thought I was going to watch like 4 a day and knock it out in 2 days, but I did one day of 2 and was like, this is freaking brutal. I don't know that I could do. So I spread it out. I did it in 5 days. And then yeah, we chained me to a pole in my friend's basement, and then we filmed me talking about it for an hour and a half. So I'm editing that now.
Hey,
so you went for like the full experience then?
I did, yeah.
They should have changed you up to make you watch them. That's what you should have done.
That's the conceit. That's what it looks like is happening.
That you've been forced to watch all of them in a row. So just like to clarify, just in case anyone didn't follow, what is it you do, Jordan?
I am I am a video producer for Literally Media, who owns Cracked, and so mostly what I do is I make Cracked videos. I rebooted the channel almost exactly a year ago. So.
Mm-hmm. And you're just here today because we have like a collaboration video going up in an hour. So I guess we should just get straight into that. Like, how did that come about? I know, obviously, but people listening, they don't know. They're probably like, "Wait, what? What's going on here?"
Right. So, let me back all the way up. So, probably in January of 2020, I had this idea. I've been writing for Crack since 2016, but I missed the video channel since everybody was let go by the old parent company. And I had this idea. I wondered if they were ever going to reboot it because it got sold to a new company, if they would need writers. So to make myself look like I could write for this new channel that maybe would come someday, I got a friend and I shot an episode of a new show in my basement, put it together and sent it to them cold. And they liked it. And so they actually asked me to make a bunch more. And so I did that. And then they hired me full time in August. So I did that. And all this was really easy comparatively because of COVID, because I wasn't allowed to go anywhere or do anything. So we were just filming videos. And then as I was full time, we started thinking about how do we grow it? Because one of the biggest issues that we have is every video we make, people are like, oh, Cracked is making videos again. And it's been a year and some change.
So rough.
I know. So it's like,
can we just break that down now? That is so rough.
Well, it's interesting. It's like we have almost 3 million subscribers, but realistically, I am not even aware of how many. I mean, some of them could have died. A lot of them aren't even generally aware that we're back. It's crazy. And so we were looking at, we're working with some contractors to help make some stuff. And I liked Karl's. I liked Fact Fiend, and I liked that stuff. And I brought your name up to one of the editors and was like, does Karl still write for the website? Because I knew that you did. And he said no, but he said that you were nice. And your Twitter may suggest otherwise. You're very angry.
I'm really nice in person. I just don't like being bothered on my free time.
Right, sure. And so I just kind of reached out to you on Twitter in the way that you ask everyone to not do all the time, and was like, "Hey, do you want to?" I didn't have anything in mind necessarily, but I just wanted to see if you wanted to make videos to talk about movies and stuff, and that's what we're doing.
So. Yeah, and we've got there's one going live, I think, in about an hour from now, isn't there?
Correct.
And that should
57 minutes.
57 minutes. That's hopefully the first of many. But that's just one of those weird things about working on the internet. You mentioned how you got your job of just sending a cold submission into a website, right. And it's just that's the beauty and also the struggle of the internet. That so much of it, there's no such thing as a meritocracy online. Everything is just it happens at random, seemingly without warning, and that's the same thing happened with the channel where we were making videos for a year straight, never got any push. I called in every favor I had with today I found out Listverse, top 10s, other websites that I wrote for, and that got us to about I think 9,000-10,000 subs, and then one day does the video got 1 million views. Just front page of YouTube, 1 million views, immediately just shot up and got 10 times more views and money than we'd ever gotten before. and there was no warning, no,
Right.
just message or
Panic
anything like
mode.
that. It was
Yeah.
because just one day suddenly, I remember Brad just sent me a text. Yeah, one video's got 50,000 views, which was 50 times what we got on any video previously.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, so what do you do with this? Lucas, have you experienced anything similar with that? Of just like the internet just randomly dropping something on you and like, oh no, I guess this is what I've got to do now.
Not particularly, no. Like, the closest I've obviously had is just the first time on Fact Fiend that we mentioned I had a separate channel.
Mhm.
And then, like, a good couple of thousand people just went over and subscribed, but I already had, like, just got a little bit of a cadence going and had a bit of a backlog, so I just kind of continued doing what I do, but nothing along the lines of, like, oh, 50,000 people, 1,000,000 people, just bam.
Right.
Yeah. What's that like for you, Jordan? Like, it's been handed essentially, just the entirety. 'Cause basically, you run Crack's video section now, don't you?
Yeah, we have another editor now, and we have another producer who came on recently, but it has been largely, and there's a couple other people that have been helping with editing and stuff like that, but it has been a lot of me running it for the past year, and it's a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, it's so like when the first video came out, I very intentionally was like, I'm gonna write something to try and explain who the heck I am and where I'm coming from, because as you guys are probably familiar, as a lot of people are probably familiar, the former video team was just fired unceremoniously
Yeah, that was
overnight.
a whole
Um,
thing. I remember that just breaking down live and just seeing people like Michael Swain, like, has anyone got any jobs for me? It's like, wait, what?
I know.
What?
I was freaking out too, even just from a writer's perspective, because I was like, oh my God, I haven't actually, like, I don't have any of my articles saved anywhere. If the website goes dark, I can't prove that I've ever done anything. And so obviously my fate was much less
Yeah.
negative than theirs. They actually lost jobs, and I didn't end up losing my articles anyway. But so, I tried to write something that sort of explained where I was coming from, how I knew the site, how I flew out there in 2017 because I thought I was gonna maybe get a job that way, and then everybody got fired, so it didn't matter. And so you get a lot of these comments that were like, "I wanted you to die, then I read your thing, and now I less would like for you to die," but we still get this
Only a little
forever.
bit.
Yeah, right. It's always like, "I can't believe you fired everyone," and that's the funny thing. It's like the thing that's hard to communicate is everybody that fired everybody is gone because the
Yeah.
Cracked has been sold. So it's
Mhm.
like, I mean, you can get mad at Cracked, but what you really need to do, I always say, is I think you have to boycott like the Ohio Gazette or something, because the company that owned it is EW Scripps, and they mostly just own newspapers and crap.
Mhm.
So
I
like,
remember that, yeah, it was Scripts. And then when you sent me an email from Literally Media, I went, this isn't the company that bought them out, because I don't even know the full story of what happened. I just know it was a big company bought Cracked, didn't know really what to do with it, it would seem.
right.
Kind of just like wasted, I guess, for lack of a better term, the talent that they had on hand, and just fumbled and let all that slip.
Yeah, there's I don't know anything because I wasn't really there at the time other than freelancing, but there's debate as to whether it was like some kind of weird tax play, because they ended up writing off the entirety of the purchase almost.
Was that like what happened with Toys R Us?
Yeah, I don't know.
Where it was,
I don't understand any of this stuff.
yeah,
So
it was Toys R Us. It was a venture capitalist company, I think, bought Toys R Us,
Mhm.
saddled it with like $1 billion worth of debt, and then went, well, I guess we can't pay this off, and then just destroyed Toys. And that's why Toys R Us died. And that's what I plan to do with my company, Big Wangers. I'm going to buy everything out, which I can speak about, because this week, here's the thing: I have, like, this is my wallet right here. In this wallet, I don't know if I'll be able to show it to the camera without revealing any details, but
Probably not.
probably not. No, but it's
Risky
mine.
move.
Yeah, but this card is like my business card. Like, see if I can just get like business debit on the screen. Like business debit, it says there. That's my business card. That says Big Wangers Incorporated on it. And this week, this card got stolen. Not from my wallet,
Oh.
just digitally. And I never use this card for anything besides buying Amazon purchases. It's like for this week, I used it to refurb the office. And I just was checking my payments, and I went, did I accidentally use this to order food? Because there was like £70 worth of Deliveroo charges on my card. And I looked and went, hang on, I don't use Deliveroo. Also, who the hell is ordering £70 worth of food? From that, I didn't order. If I order £70 worth of food, I'd die.
That's
If
like
you order
Carl
that,
fed for a week right there.
if you order that much food from a takeaway in Sheffield at like northern prices, you'd be dead. And it turns out. Sorry,
I
you
was
were
just gonna
saying.
say, I love how low stakes criminals go sometimes, where it's like they somehow acquired your number and they're like, well, I'm just gonna, what's the biggest thing I can think of? 70 pounds worth of food or
Well,
whatever.
they
Like they
bought
can't.
£40 worth and then £30 like an hour later. And what made it really bad is I had to call up the fraud department. And I just paid for the new office that we've gotten. So I paid, I think, in total about £17,000 in office fees and equipment rental fees. So when I called them up, they went, "Oh, Mr. Smallwood, yeah, we can see this issue here." I went, we're going to have to put you through to like the claims department. I went, "I want to claim for the food that was ordered." And I went, "What?" Yeah, like that purchase, that was me. It's the food that I want to contest.
Right.
And it seems really small scale of I spent like nearly £20,000 on stuff for the business. But then I'm good, but I want this 70 quid though. Someone's ordering my food. And I thought myself, but at the same time, that's my money that they stole. And I don't know how they got it. I've not left the house.
It's like the biggest charge I ever contested was so when MoviePass went down, there's another company called Cinemia, and they're like a Turkish owned company. And I was so desperate to watch movies for cheaper than they actually are that I signed up for it. And they did this promotion where they were like, all right, if you sign up for a full year, it's half off. And so I was like, great, I'll be watching movies in a year. And then a month later, they're like, actually, we're not going to work in the US anymore. And they just disappeared. And so I actually went to USAA and was like, I don't want to spend this like $70 or whatever on this stupid site. And so they had me handwrite them a letter to USAA, and then they, I don't know, sent their agents over. I don't know. They refunded me. I don't know what happened to the people at Cinemia, but presumably they've all been taken out by insurance assassins or something. But
you'd hope so, wouldn't you? Because that's what really annoyed me about this. It's not that it's not the amount. It's the fact that they just took it and it wasn't theirs. I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's really frustrating for me is, like I said, I don't know where they got the details from because I never use this card. This card has not been used for anything but ordering stuff from Amazon today or yesterday. In fact, when I was
I presume it's like specifically Amazon Business as well. And like,
Amazon Business, yeah. And the only other site that I've used is the council website to pay my business rates. And that's what's annoying because, like, was the council hacked? And that would annoy the hell out of me because you think the government of all things will tell you, yeah, your details have been leaked. That's the only other place anywhere I've entered it.
Oh, a truthful government? Is that what you're insinuating?
I'm hoping we get that. Someone's ordering food from my account. I don't want it. And it reminds me, there's a story of someone I know used to work for, I think, American Express, and they were telling me like every like Monday they'd get a sheepish phone call from a guy who was like, yeah, there's like $300 worth of charges from a strip club on my account. That's not me. And they'd have to tell, look, if you can contest it, that's fine, but we will call up the strip club and we're going to ask to see their CCTV. If we do that, are we going to see you there? And they'd normally just hang up. And it's like, oh no. That's clearly like a husband who's like not realized how much he's spent, and his wife saying, why is there this charge? Well, I wasn't me.
Oh,
Yeah, someone must have stolen my card and gone to a strip club. Lucas, have you had any experience with this? Anyone like taking something from you or losing a bank card? Because I've had to cancel this card. And I don't know when I'm going to get another one because it gets sent to another place where I'm not at the moment. And also all those purchases for the office might get cancelled.
Yeah. No, like I've only ever had to cancel my card because I've been a moron and lost my wallet. So I can't really say that I've experienced anything like that. Luckily, so far.
Okay, I've had it one previous time, and it was I dropped my other bank card, and I dropped it when I was in town. I remember I was buying my PS4. So I bought a PlayStation 4, the Spider-Man one, to play Spider-Man. I took the PlayStation 4 straight home, and in the time it took me to get from the shop to my house, which was about 15 minutes, I noticed my card was gone, and just opened up the app on my phone, cancelled it right then and there, and then went to the bank to order a new one. In that 15 minutes, there was a £30 charge made, so someone picked it up and walked straight into a shop and just used contactless to buy something. Like, God.
Yeah.
And You almost have to respect someone for just not even thinking to hand it in. Just immediately go, well, I guess this is mine now.
But like within 15 minutes, they're like, I need to use this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, like that charge also got refunded. But just when I looked and I went to my bank, and they went, what was the last purchase you made? I went, because I thought it's going to look suspicious if I report it missing and there's a PlayStation being bought. So I should probably go explain in person, I bought the PlayStation. It's like immediately after someone went, again, just I think they bought food because they bought like 3 meal deals with it. It's like, oh, God damn it. People keep stealing my details and buying food. And I don't know why.
That's funny. It's like every time you make a big purchase, somebody follows it up with just a really small order of food. Or not that small, but like with food, generally speaking.
And that's how you do it, though, isn't it? That's how they generally get away with stuff like that.
Hmm.
You take a small amount of money that you might not notice that looks like something you may have bought.
Yeah, I remember someone did the opposite and obviously got caught out immediately when my dad's details got taken. And he was just like, I have not spent like $2,000 on eBay like in the past hour. What is going on? And it's like, at least they went for it. They absolutely went for it.
But it's just that thing. If you're going to do that, and the thing is, I probably might not have even noticed if it was been one of my other cards. It's just 'cause it's the business card. And like when I called up my bank and told them like, how do you know it's not you? And because it's a business card, I don't use my business card to buy food. Like you're not allowed to do that. I went, oh yeah, that makes sense. Also, it's in London.
See, that's weird though about like buying stuff online that needs to be shipped to your house. And if you buy 2,000, like if you buy that much stuff, surely somebody can track where you are.
That's what you'd think. You'd hope
find them.
You'd hope that they would have got caught, but with that, you never get any sort of resolution to it, and it's really frustrating. Because I wish there was like a system, like in online games, where if you report someone for just being a dick, and then just a couple of days later, you get that little pop-up notification. Yeah, this person got banned.
So
I want that for reporting people for like crimes and stuff. Like, if for that, I want to just get a phone call from my bank in a couple of days. Yeah, we found out who committed fraud on your account, and they've just been given like £1,000 fines. Get it? I want that.
Well, yeah, because they surely getting food ordered to their address, so you immediately know who ordered the Deliveroo, and yeah.
Well, that's what happened with me when someone stole my Hoover. I moved into my house. I've been in my house, I think, less than a day. And I thought, I'm going to order some stuff from my house. And I got, I think, one of those Roomba things. So, oh, yeah, you know what? I want to ball it. I'm not fucking cleaning my floor. A robot can do that for me. And it got put on my porch. And within, I think, like an hour, because I was in the office, I came back, it was gone. And I go downstairs, and I'm in a completely key lock building. The only way in is with a key card. I'm on like the 4th floor. So it's got to be someone who lives in the building. It's almost guarantees to be someone on my floor. I go downstairs and ask the concierge. So just, oh yes, someone got stolen off my front porch. Well, we can't take responsibility for that. Because I don't want you to take responsibility. I want you to find out who did it. Well, how would you expect us to do that? Well, it happened in the building and there's CCTV pointed right at my door. Well, I'm not sure if we need permission to check that. From who? You run the building. I never got any resolution to that. And it's like, all you've got to do is look at the footage. Ooh, we need permission to do that. From who? And they just never explained it. They went, well, in future, be more careful. I went, how can I be more careful? It got delivered to a completely locked off part of the building that only I can access and the other people who live here. And I couldn't even be mad because Amazon refunded my money and I bought another one and it was on sale. So I got 50 quid off it. So we both got a Hoover. So 2 Hoovers. And I couldn't even be mad. It's like, God damn it. I want to be mad at the person who stole it. And the same thing, I would have got mugged. So I got mugged. My phone got stolen, but my contract ran out the following week. So I went into the shop and asked them. I told them, oh, I got mugged this morning. Can I upgrade my contract early? And they went, yeah. So they gave me, I got a new phone, and then they gave me £100 cash back for upgrading early. And then I used that £100 to go buy a 3DS. And again, I couldn't even feel mad because both me and the mugger got a new phone.
Right.
And I couldn't even be mad about it. And I remember that one because that's when I reported my phone had been stolen. I think I posted on Facebook or something. I went, can everyone just spam my old number with phone calls and abusive messages so the guy can't take it anywhere? And then I forgot about that. I'd done that drunkenly at like 3 a.m. when I was angry. Woke up, went to get my new phone. Went, oh, do you want to transfer your old number? Yeah, sure. Guy turns on the phone in the shop. The first thing that happens is it just like burst into life with everyone telling me to go fuck myself. I'm like, just take the phone. You can't explain that, can you?
That's awesome.
So, Jordan, any experience with stuff like that?
Yeah, the only other thing that's happened recently was we tried to order a pizza from some pizza place, but they only used, I think, Slice or something. It's kind of like Grubhub, but I don't know what the difference is. And we got our pizza and it was terrible. But then like a week later, somebody else ordered a pizza on our account, but
God.
that was it. They never followed up, and we didn't know what to do about it. We didn't know who to talk to. So somebody just got a pizza on us. And
what kind of pizza? That's the important question.
oh man, I didn't even think. I bet I could find it if I really was interested.
That's what you need to know. Like, we start where you need to know your enemy.
Did they put pineapple on it? That's the
question. One, yeah. If they put pineapple on it, it's like that monster. I can't believe they do something like that. It's like, it's one thing to steal my money, it's another thing to spend it on something that's shit. That's what I got mad about. It's like, oh man, like if Deliveroo, like they already charge like the massive upcharges. If you want to do it, like go big, go home.
Yeah, true.
See, now I'm curious about it. I want to find out.
We want to know what does a thief eat?
God, I don't even. Is it not called Slice?
Maybe this is how they got your details because you don't even know what the app's called.
I know. Oh man, there's like 100 different Slice apps.
That's because I'm so paranoid about my details leaking anywhere. The only app I think I trust is Just Eat, and Just Eat knows so much about me that this is a legit true story. I ordered from one place so much they sent me a Christmas card.
Wow.
Like one of my local takeaways sent me a Christmas card, so I ordered from it. I went, you know what? I need to stop doing this. I'm clearly doing this too much when I'm getting a Christmas card from an Indian takeaway.
God, I remember though, like I ordered once, like drunkenly at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then like 20 minutes later, I got a notification from Just Eat, like, oh yeah, your food's been delivered. So I called up the restaurant, like, my food has not been delivered. What was going on? And then they just said, yeah, the restaurant's shut, we're not cooking, and hung up on me. So obviously I contact Just Eat, and Just Eat went, well, that's not our problem. You need to get in contact with the restaurant. I'm like, the restaurant are hanging up on me. What are you going to do? Oh, nothing. It's up to the restaurant. But, all right then, I guess I just lost out on 15 quid, so Just Eat can go fuck himself.
Ah, okay. So we had something similar with other day, me and my girlfriend. We ordered a takeaway. And it's one of those things where I'm so glad it didn't happen to me. I feel so bad that it happened to her. It's like she ordered like a paratha or something, like a bread thing, and she ripped it in half. And we had a meal, and she went up to get a bit more food, and then she ripped the rest of it, and there was a hair baked into the bread, and she'd already eaten half of it, and it's just, I just looked and went, I'm glad I didn't order that.
That's disgusting.
But that's the worst bit as well, because it's like baked in, but you've already eaten half. And at that point, what do you do?
Right.
So I compare it to, like, oh, sorry, you were saying?
Well, no, I was going to say is I feel like I'm having the opposite experience recently, which is to say, like, we live so far out typically that nobody delivers to us. But there is a Domino's pizza that's technically in the other county, but we're right on the line. And so if we order from them, most of the time they show up to our door and they're like, we're not allowed to deliver to you. And I'm like, well, you're here now. So
we're not. They come to your door to tell you we're not allowed to come to your door.
Well, because it's like there's a sign that says now you're entering Albemarle County or whatever, and they presumably drive past that and they're like, oh shit, because it's like it's right on that line, so we're in the wrong jurisdiction or something.
For Domino's, are they worried that someone from like Papa John's going to come and break the legs?
Like that's their territory.
This is our territory. You can't cross. You cross that line, you're in our turf, boy.
Yeah, maybe it's just like, it's a little confusing because it's like, so is there a Domino's down the road that won't deliver to us, but also won't let them deliver to us?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I suppose it's something like boring, like franchise. Each franchise like has like a different area where, like this restaurant operates in this area,
right?
And blah blah blah. But
there's just no overlap.
Right, but nobody reaches us. We're in this like food desert or pizza desert or whatever, unless we trick the Fluvana one.
The weird Bermuda Triangle.
There's a friend of mine that happened with. I was at his house years and years and years ago. Ordered from like Chinese takeaway around the corner, and he called them up. And I want to point out, like the Chinese takeaway, you can see it from his window. Like you can see them from his window. You can look through, you see him answer the phone. Call him up, but obviously no one that close ever orders for delivery. And we're like, no, we're going to pay for delivery because we're not getting up. And the guy he opens the phone, he gets the phone, and we make our order. He says, what's the address? We give him, he goes, I don't think we deliver there. He goes, I think you do. No, I don't know where that address is. And we said, look up. So what? Look out the window. And we're just like, oh yeah. It's like you can see him, and he's like, I don't think we can deliver there. It's not it's not on any of our maps, and it is. Trust us.
God. I mean, Karl, I respect the hustle, but you probably should have just got the Chinese yourself.
No, we just didn't want to get up.
We've all been there.
Just look, you can see we saw him answer the phone, and he's like, I'm sorry, we don't deliver that. It's like, I can see you. I can see you right now.
Creepy, you're like watching him.
You better deliver it. We know where you are. Oh, so what have you been up to this week then, Lucas?
Not too much. Like just getting back into a few different things, like watching some more One Piece as always. You know, episode like 750 of 1,000 or something. And then got new Pokemon Snap and Returnal over the bank holiday weekend. So been playing a lot of that and enjoying life. Yeah, can't complain.
That's been well. And I'm guessing John, yours is like mostly work.
Yeah, work. I did actually buy a Switch recently, just in a way to recapture the joys of my childhood or something. I don't know.
Because you said like what your internet broke recently. That's got to be a nightmare. That.
It was very timely. Well, it only broke last night. We had a storm, and it goes out sometimes when that happens. But no, so my parents wouldn't buy me consoles for a long time, and so like when I was 10, what I did was I grabbed all my Pokemon cards and I took a bunch of my sister's dolls and I went door to door in our neighborhood and I sold them all, and then I got a friend's mom to drive me to GameStop. Although at the time I think it was called Babbage's, and we bought an N64 and 3 controllers and GoldenEye because 2 of my friends. And we did that thing where I kept it at my friend's house, and then I was like, "Mom, I already own this. Can we trade weeks?" And so N64 was like the first console, and then GameCube. I also had to like work out a split with my parents or whatever. But since then, I got older, and so I could just buy things outright. So I got a 360 and an Xbox One and an Xbox Series X. But I'm missing the childhood joys of selling things door to door to play Mario or Super Smash Brothers.
It's the fact though you sold your sister's stuff as well. What was the fallout to that? Because I'm pretty sure if I would have sold my brother's stuff, like there would have been like pistols at dawn.
Until you said we can play GoldenEye though, Karl.
That's true, yeah.
The idea was I said it would be like it was like a commission thing. So I was like, I'll give you 10%, or maybe it was probably the other way around. I was like, I'll give you 75%, but also they were like 7. So they're like, okay, whatever you want, big brother. And I was like, I'll pay you at some point.
I'm going to take your stuff and sell it so I can buy something for myself. That's a hustle. I have to remember that one.
I probably told them they could play the N64 as well, but I don't know that they ever did. I might have played Mario Party.
Yeah.
What a great thing for a 7-year-old to play, just knacker their hands.
Oh, right. God, yeah, that was brutal. Like, I've still got Mario Party 1 on like my shelf behind this chair, and just like that does burn through your hands. And to this day, I still get really competitive and like blister my hands when we play it.
It's the only way. It's the only ways you got to injure yourself when you do it. And I think I had something similar when I bought my Xbox 360. I saved up for 2 years, traded in everything I had, my PS2, all the games I got on over the years, and I didn't have any money for a game. So I just had the console. And I just spent all my time playing with the menus, just with all the different settings that I could do, just to see, also then like putting CDs in and copying CDs onto it to play music through it, and using like the equalizer settings. That was a thing you used to be able to do on like Xbox 360s. And that's what I did. I remember a friend of mine borrowed me Gears of War. I remember my mum came in and went, "Are you sure it should be up on its side?" So I had it vertical. I went, "Oh, I'll put it down then." And I did. And I said,
right.
My point out friend's copy of Gears of War, massive fat scratch all the way around it. I can't give him that back. I can't afford to give him a new one.
That's
So I had to go I think I had to go to a shop and get ones like professional disc cleaners. You know where you could get those, where they'd like clean it and they get like the scratch out of it. And we managed to get the scratch all the way out of it and get it back to the friend, and he never knew the difference.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
you know, like, what that actually is? It's just that there's like a thick enough layer on a CD that they could essentially scratch a tiny bit of the disc off completely, so that it didn't look like there was a scratch in it anymore, but in essence they just like cut the thinnest of layers off your CD so it was all uniform again.
That's what I figured it was. Yeah, it's like buff it down to get rid of that really thick layer. Because isn't there like something to do with the GameCube where the CDs are so thick it won't play anymore?
Oh, I've not heard that.
Have you not heard that?
I
It's
know.
like the GameCube or PlayStation where the laser stops working because it loses power after a couple of years of just being inactive, and because of how thick the CDs are, it can't read games anymore. I forget which console it is that does that, but it's
could
like
have been what happened to my GameCube.
yeah, I think and that's certain games like Smash Bros because there's so much data on there. It can't read it because the laser's not powerful enough anymore.
Yeah, because like I remember my dad, you know, just like abusing his power of having like friends at work, and just took my GameCube into work and told people, "Don't do your job, try and repair my son's GameCube instead." And they like ordered the special like tri-wing screwdrivers and everything, and like essentially operated on my GameCube, and just turned around and went, "We need like specialist parts for the actual laser itself. We can't replace it. We can't fix it." So I just had to go buy another one, and it included Mario Kart Double Dash that I already had. So I sold that back and basically got half my money back for the GameCube.
So that's not too bad. Something like that happened on Christmas Day when I was like 8 years old, and my brother got a Furby. Me and my brother got a Furby when they were a big thing, and my brother hated it because it wouldn't shut up. So what he did, he shit you not, he turned it upside down and just put it in a stacker box, and then slammed its head against the what's it now, the underside of the bed to shut it up. And like my dad went upstairs and found it, and was like, "You can't do this," but obviously now it's broken and it won't shut up, and he had to perform surgery on it. But he pulled all its fur off. And I remember like my mum burst into tears because she's got this Furby on the floor, on the table with no fur, and its eyes are permanently open. But it's the sensor thought they were closed, so all the Furby saying, "I'm scared, it's dark." She's like, "Oh no, it's dying, it's dying." So she thought it was dying because he kept saying, "I'm scared, help me."
That's so awesome.
And it's just this Furby with no fur and its eyes wide open as surgery's being performed on it. It's like, oh man, that's some horror stuff out there, which brings us to I want to know more about all 8 Saw movies.
Oh,
Because
full circle.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and I just want to know, like, watching them all back to back, are they as bad as I'm remembering that they were in regards to just how convoluted those plots get towards the end?
Yeah, I think the main takeaway I had is I feel like, the first movie was directed by James Wan, who went on to do Furious 7 and Aquaman and a lot of like big action movies. And it was written by, I'm gonna butcher his name, but I think it's like Leigh Whannell or something. He did Upgrade and Invisible Man, which are both
Like 2 great
really,
movies.
yeah, really, really good. And so that first movie definitely has it just doesn't lean that heavily into the gore, and there's an interesting plot, and even just the premise of like being tied in a bathroom with saws is interesting. And so the first movie is still enjoyable, but then it immediately falls off, and they have this bar that they're trying to reach every time, which is like crazy twist level stuff. But the ways that they go about it are just so freaking like 3 and 4 happen at the exact same time, and
I
you don't
remember that,
realize,
yeah.
and it's like for no apparent reason. And they also it's just I don't know, it's interesting because they escalate the gore really, really heavily. I think 4 is the peak, goriest, most nauseating film, and then they
Which
actually
is
kinda
that
come
one
back
for?
down.
Like, what's the big set piece of 4? Because that's the thing, my mum really likes the Saw movies. So I've seen them all, but I
Really?
don't remember the plot of them. So what's the set piece from number 4? Because they all
Oh,
have like that one big trap, don't they?
yeah, right. So 3 is the one where, that guy Jeff, his son died, and so he was sad about it. So he like forces him to deal with all the
Yeah,
previous
okay. That's the pig
the
one,
people
isn't it?
involved in the case. And then the fifth one is 5 people trapped in that room where they die one-on-one, and then it gets to the end and it's like you got to fill this thing full of blood, and you all could have survived. And if you had, you could, I don't know, fill the blood vial easier.
Yeah, you could all give
But
away one
4
pint.
is like escaping me. 4 is like the least
Well, if that's the
memorable.
one, that's
Oh,
the
no,
one
no.
I'm remembering. That's with the pigs.
It's the one. Yeah, 3 is the one with the pigs where they fill
Okay.
up he's like tied down and they're trying to put pig guts in his mouth.
They drown him in like liquefied pig, and it's like, what is this?
Yeah, 4. Okay, 4 is the one where the police officer Rig, the guy who's like wearing the bandana, he is being tested by Jigsaw to see how he sees. And you realize that the dad from 2 is still alive somewhere, and he's like on an ice block that's melting, and the cop is like, they think that maybe the cop is Jigsaw, but he like goes to that motel room, and the like rapist guy gets all his limbs torn off, and it's just, I guess the big set piece is like the guy gets his head smashed with ice blocks or whatever.
Which happens in Final Destination, so it's not that impressive.
Yeah, 4 is like the least exciting. That's also the one where it's like, it's just funny because the movie opens with like a bombing in a school, like the guy's chained up and he explodes, and they realize, oh, this must not have been real Jigsaw, because the guy, even if the guy had escaped, the door was welded shut. So they're like, it wasn't a fair trap.
Yeah.
And then he ends up there 4 days later, and there are more people in a trap. And I'm like, nobody's watching this school or like investigating like the bombing murder that happened here. It says like 4 days earlier. He's able to just like come back in and like skewer 2 people with a bunch of rebar or whatever. It's just like.
Yeah. Also, as well, like I remember that film because it has one of my least favorite tropes, which is person who is very clearly a stand-in for the film director or the writer to explain what they meant. And you always have when they're talking about Saw, it's like, well, Jigsaw never really killed anybody. It's like, no, like, fuck, he did. He's engineering situations where people die. He's 100% complicit and responsible for these deaths. Like, yeah, but he doesn't really kill any. No, he kills them all the time.
They say that in every single movie. And not only that, because I was taking note of that every single time it happened. There's sometimes when the cops is like, they're like, I can't believe Jigsaw murdered somebody. She goes, well, did he murder him?
Yeah.
And you're like, yes.
100%.
Objectively, that is what happened.
Like, you put the gun in their hand.
Right.
And then force them to pull the trigger.
Well, and by the end, even, he has a bunch of accomplices that always do like traps that are unfair. But even at the end, when it's still Kramer, like the real guy traps, it'll be a trap where it's like you have to choose between these 2 people, whether they live or die.
They're the ones that really piss me off, because it's like they always argue, oh yeah, anyone can survive. Like if you want to live enough, you can survive. And then they have the one where it is, okay, you can save 2 of these 5 people.
Right. Yeah.
So do those people not want to live hard?
Right. And then in the 7th one, it's like he's trying to save people as he goes, and it's like, well, okay, 3 of them were complicit in his lie, but then the last person is just his wife, who didn't know that the guy, that the guy, like, his whole thing was that he pretended he was in a Saw trap just to like get publicity and that he escaped. And like the people that helped him along all get killed, but then it gets to his wife and she's like, what are we even talking about? He's like, oh yeah, I lied. And then she gets cooked to death. And Jigsaw's like, gotcha. And it's like, well, the guy being tested is still alive, but his wife, who didn't know anything and did nothing wrong, is now fried and dead. So I don't know, man. I did like the 8th one better than all but the first.
Is that the one where it reveals it's actually a prequel?
Yeah.
Even though it's got lasers in it.
Even though it's got
it's supposed, like, because I remember that. Like, it's called. Is it the final chapter that one's called?
No, that's the 7th one. This one is just
called. I love this about movies. So what are they called? So let's bring out a list now. What the Saw movies are called?
It's just one through 7, and the 7th one is just called the final chapter, and then it's Jigsaw.
Ah, okay. And then to remember that one, because the twist is, oh, this is the first murder he ever actually committed, but all the traps are super high tech. Keep in mind that the first one, it's guy in basement with leg in manacle, and rusty hacksaw. And then before that, though, he had like perfectly lined up lasers that cut a guy's head in half. He's like, wait, so he built this and then said, you know what I really need though? Manacles.
Right. Yeah, because that's the thing is, so what's happening is we're watching the game from 10 years ago, and in the present, the Jigsaw has made an identical version of the game. And the only reason you're not aware that it's different people is because when you see the corpses from the modern day game, they're so mangled that you don't know that it's different people than the ones you've been watching the whole time. It's freaking nonsense. But the directors of that also directed this movie Predestination, which if you haven't seen it, I mean, it's very weird, but I would highly recommend. It's one of those like time travel things where he ends up causing a really insane cycle of things that happens. And then also that movie Daybreakers, if you're familiar with that one.
I love that one. That's the one with reverse vampires.
Right. And I just remember that movie from the scene where like when you turn into a vampire, it's instantaneous.
Yeah, you instantly become a vampire.
So they're like ripping through that like group of soldiers who are like getting bit and then turning around and biting the guy behind them. That's freaking cool. But those directors are at least like generally competent, have made decent
some good movies, yeah. And I love the twist. One of the things in Daybreak is something I adore about movies is just really good world building, or world building that is interesting and novel. And the thing they have in that is when vampires announce themselves, they offered, do you want to be a vampire? Vampires don't die and we don't get cancer. At least to say that if you're a vampire, you don't get sick because vampires can't die. And then immediately like 10 million people, I want to be a vampire. It's like, because why would you not? Like, you get to live forever and you don't die. And then the thing is, too many people became vampires, so they start to run out of blood. And then they're like, you have like vampires, like they're watering down blood, and people are protesting because there's not enough blood left. So there's not enough humans.
And they're debating doing the like Matrix style, like string a bunch of people up solely to be using their blood, like their energy or whatever. Aren't they like debating the ethics of that? I can't remember. Yeah. It's a really interesting movie from that perspective. And then like the way that you reverse become a vampire is like you get yourself blasted in sunlight, but then shut it off really quick and you like burn
it restarts your heart. It's great.
Oh,
Lucas, go watch this movie. It's terrible.
I've heard of it, but only like secondhand because you talk about it sometimes.
Yeah, it's because like just the world building of like, oh, it's a world full of vampires, so all the cars have window. None of the cars have windows because why would vampires have windows? That's stupid.
Awesome. Yeah, and then watch Predestination, which I don't want to give anything about, but it's basically a cop or something goes back in time to stop a bomb, but in doing so, it sets off this just very weird chain of events.
I legit thought you were going to say it's actually a sequel or a prequel to Final Destination.
That's what I thought it was from the name. Yeah.
Predestination, because that's another one where I think Final Destination 5 turns out, oh, it's a prequel to the first one, because the end of number 5 is the start of the first one.
God.
But again, the first one is a plane crash, and it's set in the 90s. And they don't even have smartphones yet, but in the fifth one, they, again, have lasers. And that's one of the ways people get killed. Like, wait, so you had, like, lasers and shit then, but then someone falls off a plane?
So good. It's so funny that, like, so, you know, the first Saw had the twist that, like, he was in the room the whole time or whatever. And it's funny how many horror movies are like, well, we should have twists. What if it's just happening at a different time than you thought it was? Like that's 90% of the Saw twist is like, actually everything is just out of order. And you're like,
yeah, everyone's already dead.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah.
There's as well, I'm guessing you must have like thought to yourself while watching these, there's so many of those traps, just like some of them are so much more unfair than other ones. Like
Amanda's
is that the bear trap, the reverse bear trap? That's the worst one because you have to pull out a key out of your own eyeball. And that's the worst one.
But that's the thing is the first time we see that one, all she has to do is pull a key out of some other dude's stomach.
Oh yeah, is it later where they start putting people's eyes?
Yeah, that's the third one, I think. But
I love how you can't remember. They've all blended into one.
Fair, he's watched them all in a week. Come on.
That's fair, yeah.
The thing though, the thing about the reverse bear trap that's funny is Oh no, that's a real bear trap. Actually, the one that you're thinking of, they use a reverse. The joke I said it's a reverse bear trap because it just smashes his head. It's just a bear trap.
I remember that being like one of the most dangerous things they've ever put on an actor because it was real. Like it functioned like that, but obviously the actor could just take it on and off. But they were legit scared that it would kill the actor.
Why?
Because if
would they use
that's
that?
exactly.
You can fake that stuff.
You can fake it, but that's one of the ones where like this might kill the actor if it goes off.
That's nonsense.
And I will
I
give
guess that's how you
props.
keep your budgets low. You
Is
actually
you build
kill
things
all
for
your
real.
actors. Yeah.
And then was the other one where I think it's Joe, the one with the chains around the neck, and they get pulled towards the thing inside. That was another one where that was just a real practical effect. There was a lot of safety stuff in place, but like this could kill someone. If we make a mistake, if this guy slips over, like we could fucking kill the guy.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they told that to the actor at the time?
I don't think they did. If you want to get him to like,
we'll tell you after we've done it that, by the way, if we'd fucked up, that would have killed you. Oh.
It might be a great way to get a good scared reaction, though. I think that all the time. Like acting in the saw trap would be relatively easy to freak out because you're tied down. Like regardless of whether it's going to actually stab out your eyes or whatever. Like I don't think I would enjoy being tied while somebody, I don't know, squirts blood on me or like whatever's supposed to be happening during that scene.
Well, there we go. And what do you think is the best scream acting you've seen in a piece of media? 'Cause for me, it has to be in District 9, just where Shalto Copley is just getting experimented on. And he just starts screaming in like South Africa, "Get the fuck off me!" Just like screaming. Scream at he's so good.
Yeah. That's funny. I haven't thought about that other than in Saw 7, final chapter.
The final chapter, which is not the final one.
Correct. It is, and there's another one coming out, which I'm also going to see and add to the end of this.
It's called. Is it called Jigsaw?
It's called Spiral.
In reference to the spirals on Billy's cheeks.
But it's also called like Spiral : from the Book of Saw or something like that.
Oh, that Paranormal Activity tech.
Right. Chester Bennington from Linkin Park is in that one.
Yeah.
And
he has a really weird cameo, doesn't he? He's like a white supremacist.
Yeah. He's like a racist. And his skin is like tied to a car seat or something. And when he screams, I was like, oh, it's like Linkin Park. It was like a very clean, like very, I don't know, just like controlled compared to everybody else's. I mean, it was loud, but I was just like, it sounds like a breakdown in a Linkin Park song. This is kind of
he's had a
sad that he's dead, I guess. Yeah.
What about you, Lucas? Like any like scream acting that you hold in especially high regard?
The problem right now in my brain is like you mentioned scream acting, and I can't think of anything but the bad scream acting of like The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Of just like Christian Bale.
Oh god, yeah. Oh, I forgot how bad it is.
It's so bad.
I had to watch clips for an episode going up, and just you forget how bad the Batman voice is, and because of how good those movies are.
Yeah, I kind of forgot how bad it was and went and rewatched them not long ago and was like, I'm almost like laughing at Christian Bale's scream acting at sometimes. I'm like, oh, this does not fit the tone of the rest of the movie.
I just don't know why he didn't change his voice. Like, why did he change his voice in such a stupid way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I don't get.
That's the thing, right? It's like we're looking at it now, 15 years removed, and it's been parodied so much. And it is very iconic. If nothing else, it's very like everybody. That's now what Batman sounds like. I mean, it's kind of amazing that he created that to some extent. Whereas, like, Mark Hamill kind of created the Joker voice, but Heath Ledger's isn't really the same. And now we've got two other freaking Joker voices, not to mention Jack Nicholson and not to mention the guy from the show. So, but like if you're doing Batman, you're like, yeah, I'm Batman or whatever. And it's like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
He created that, which is pretty sweet, even if it is now kind of goofy and dumb. But
it's more just though, all this, I don't know why they put scenes in the day. I think me and you talked about it, Lucas, didn't we? Of like one of the playthroughs we did of Batman in the day looks so stupid. And they keep putting Batman in the middle of the day in the third one.
They also make the mistake of like, as we mentioned, like a lot of the combat scenes are like from such wide angles, and you can just see like the stunt people waiting for their turn, and you can just see like Catwoman missing people in the background, and it's like, yeah.
Like, this is a guy who was trained by the League of Assassins. I don't buy this for a second. That this is like the greatest physical combatant in this universe.
And I think like, to me, they probably just nailed it immediately with the shipping container scene in Batman Begins, where like you first see him, and like he basically is never on screen. It's just people being dragged into the shadows screaming.
Because that's what a fight with Batman should be. It should be just a group of men, and then 30 seconds later, everyone's knocked out. That's what it should be. And you never need to see Batman. And I've always wanted to see a movie from the perspective. I've always thought they should make a Batman movie that's like a horror movie, where it's criminals reacting to the idea of Batman when in a universe where they don't know Batman exists. And it should have been like a movie where the twist at the end is, oh, this is a Batman movie. It's like, oh yeah, it's just criminals being just like stalked and violently beaten by this creature in the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And they've never had the balls to do it.
Yeah, I wonder if you'd ever be able to get something greenlit, like a movie where you don't announce that Batman's in it. I just think it'd be fascinating to see if people were able to get away with, like, I think the last movie that did this that I'm aware of that essentially lied in its marketing was Happy Death Day to You. The second Happy Death Day movie, where it looks like another slasher movie, but it's actually just kind of like Back to the Future. Oh. It's a time travel movie. I mean, there's like some slasher stuff, but it's not at all. But all the trailers
did
are like,
not sell that at all. Yeah,
yeah, and so it's interesting. Like, could you get away with a movie that's going to rely so heavily on word of mouth? Like, it's like a Sixth Sense thing, where it's like the twist at the end. Like, you got to go see it, even if the twist is just that it's Batman or whatever.
I just think that'd be such a good idea, but they've never had the balls to show you what it's fighting Batman's like. It's you always have to see him doing it.
Right.
And just if you look at some of those scenes, like the one Lucas singled out of like when every criminal that they have no idea what's going on. Mm-hmm. And the closest we've gotten is there's like an animated short, and it's kids talking about there's a monster.
Oh,
have you heard about the
Gotham Knight? Yeah.
Have you heard about the monster? So what do you mean? There's a monster in Gotham. Because that's what kids imagine when they saw Batman, and you just see this shadow kicking the shit out of people. Because that's all the kids see. They just see a blur, and then people's arms are broken. It's like, why do we have that?
True.
I guess we don't have that because the day the film releases, like on Twitter, it's Batman.
It's the Batman movie. Yeah. The twist is it's Batman.
Social media would just ruin it within half an hour. And I guess that's why, but like at the same time, I would love to see that attempt because the little like bit of Gotham Knight that you talked about is really good, and I love that like series of short movies because he's just like 10-minute clips of like different Batman vignettes, and it's really cool, and all different art styles and directors and stuff.
And it's like the idea of what Batman is like. Oh, are we going to get a dramatic reveal here?
No, I've just the video's about to come out, so I'm supposed to like change.
Oh yeah.
Instagram link and crap like that.
So that'll be going out soon. Yeah, that's why we're here, isn't it?
Live production as we
live production of this. Anyone who's watching this live, there's a video going to be coming out soon. And that's the collaboration between myself and you, and it's hopefully going to be the start of something ongoing.
Yeah,
so I guess we can quickly talk about that. So what is it?
I mean, it's pretty much just what you guys do.
Cool.
It's a little different because it's me every time, and I do kind of slide into frame, so I am on screen. But it's very similar. It's taking an interesting. Right now, we've been focused on movies, but maybe we can expand it to other things. But it's just taking a thing that's like a weird thing that happened with a movie. Like this one is talking about the time Toy Story 2 got deleted twice, and just sort of unscripted talking about it. There's a thin conceit where you were supposed to have done more work ahead of time, and I'm directing you frustratedly, but that it falls apart pretty fast. It's not a very
it was a very strange experience, like editing that raw footage of like I didn't know at the very beginning whether you were genuinely like, wait, Karl, did you not read the script? Like
that's what that's what the idea was.
So it got me. It got me.
And that's what the thinking is. It's similar to the very first Fact Fiend video we ever released, where we have a proper video. Because I remember you sent me that. you went, oh, here's an idea I have for how we can show that this is the format we're going to do. It's not a scripted conversation. It's two people improvising around a certain piece of information. And the clip you sent me is exactly the idea I had like 3 years ago for the first factory video to establish the format for that. So at least I know it was a good idea.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. You sent that to me and I was like, well, crap. We just did the exact same thing.
I'm not sure if I said it to you or if I just said it out loud in a conversation afterwards of there's no worries about it looking like we stole the idea or because it's my idea and I'm in it. So
yeah,
I'm in the video.
Right. That's true. I don't know. I just always want to make sure that like I do think a big part of like philosophically the way that I'm approaching some of this crack stuff is I just think that internet comedy is hard, and I think that making stuff is hard, and it's hard enough fighting all the algorithms and the social media and getting people to look at your crap, getting the click through rates that like it doesn't make any sense for us to be fighting each other, as it were, to be like I don't know, not that anybody is, but you know, like, oh, I prefer College Humor, or I prefer The Onion, or whatever. I feels like the way to beat the algorithm is to be more collaborative, and that's how we get more good stuff in the world.
Yeah.
So I never want anybody to feel like if they're working with us or with me or whatever, that it's like, oh crap, they're stealing like they're taking our slice of the pie or whatever. I want it to feel more like we're working together. We're making new things collaboratively so that we can all survive, as opposed to, you know, there's only 200 comedy jobs in the world and you're going to have to kill everybody to get one, kind of thing, which I think sometimes it can feel that way, but I would prefer if we could find a way around that, whatever that looks like.
Well, I think I've heard quite a few times of different content creators just say, like, competition is nothing compared to collaboration, and like you should always be aiming to just collaborate with as many interesting and like people that you want to collaborate with, because as you say, treating it as just a competition between people of like, oh, there's only one spot and it's like Cracked versus Fact Fiend, it's like, why?
Right.
There's so many people on the platform, there's no point to fight each other over the scraps. Like, might as well work together and bring each other up.
That's good advice, but I'm terrible at working with other people. Not that I'm bad at it, it's just that I'm really just set in my ways.
Sure.
Also, I'm so used to working behind the scenes. I don't really see myself as someone in a position to reach out to other people, even though realistically I could and probably should be doing that. I should be like approaching other content creators and asking if they want to work on the channel or collaborate, but I don't feel like I have the pull to do that. So don't. And just kind of just sit. So that's why I was like, oh, I'm being asked to work with Cracked. I'm going to take this opportunity because it's a good one. And I feel like I should do that. But it's not something I would have done under my own power. Just almost purely out of laziness.
Well, I feel like, I don't know. I don't have a lot of, I haven't been doing this long enough to feel like I have, I don't know, like I'm owed anything necessarily. Like I said, it was such a random thing anyway, kind of like how a lot of this internet stuff works, where I'm just happy to be, I just want to like learn from a bunch of people that have been doing it longer than me and doing it better than me, in the hopes that I can be better. And that, again, we create more stability in this highly historically unstable environment. So yeah, thanks for agreeing to do it. I've had a blast getting to work with even just a few other collaborators, and I don't know. I think our videos are fun.
I do as well. And then you've appeared in a couple of hours just as like cross promotion, and like Lucas has seen the rough edit, I think.
Right.
Yeah, like I was the one who cut that together, and then obviously sent it over to you guys too, to put all the effects in and do the hard work, essentially. You know, but yeah, I've actually been enjoying the content that you've been making, like on YouTube before all this started. Anyway, like I was watching Cracked when the videos started coming back out on YouTube, and like it's weird that it took a while for like YouTube to actually notify me that you were putting videos back out, because that's YouTube.
Right.
But yeah, as soon as I saw Crack putting out videos again, I've been really enjoying your content. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
I can't say the same thing because I try and avoid all comedy stuff because I don't want to accidentally steal jokes. And I'm not sure, like, what's your opinion on that? Of I never want to accidentally plagiarize someone, whether it be an idea or a joke, or even just a quote or a funny observation. So I have to try really hard to curate the content that I watch, so I don't accidentally do that.
Interesting.
I'm so paranoid of someone saying, "Well, you stole that off insert other creator." And we've had that a couple of times, and I don't even know who this is.
Yeah.
So I'm really bad at following internet trends.
So I don't usually worry about that. Like I haven't necessarily consumed similar enough content that I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't necessarily feel like I've been. Well, that's the thing too, I guess, is that like a lot of the hey, it's out.
Yay!
A lot of the, for example, the main show I do, Your Brain on Cracked. Well, it's not actually out. It's supposed to be out. There it is.
Okay, it's out now. There we go. So do you want to send a link to the Discord? So I can post this live now.
Yeah,
So-
let me. I'm putting.
I'll just tag me in on Twitter. We could do that live while recording.
That's true.
It's gonna go super well for the people who are listening to this after the fact. Like, what is this?
I like as well though that when streaming this and you're like, quick everybody, click away from this stream and go watch this other video.
Lucas, I'm bad at running a business. Did you not hear my business details got stolen because I don't use my business card enough?
That's true.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by everything now.
No, that's fine.
What I was going to say is that the main show that I do is so heavily scripted that I don't know. I'm not super worried about it. I feel like I put enough time into it. I mean, I'm sure other jokes have happened or observations or something, but in general, I feel relatively confident that I'm not aping too much. The one thing that we have been struggling with is we're trying a new format, and the first episode came out, and it's kind of similar to Ryan George's pitch meeting, if you're familiar with that
Yes.
show.
I'm not.
His is basically what would what probably happened when the screenwriter went to the producer, I suppose, of a popular movie and pitched it, but in all the stupid plot holes come out and the goofy plotting and all that stuff. And so it's just him talking to himself and being like, yeah, so then this crazy thing happens, and the producer will be like, but doesn't that not make sense? They'll be like, shut up. And they'll just kind of do that. And so we started doing something kind of similar, which is instead of that vibe, it's a script doctor, and he's just looking at the script. But the main difference is that he's not he's proposing fixes to a show or to a movie, except that his ideas are awful. They're like for Wonder Woman 1984, the whole problem was that she slept with the body of some random man. And so our fix for that was like she like saved him at a Washington Nationals baseball game, and he said, "You can use my body for whatever you want in the future." And then we animate it in an animatic style, and so it's very weird and very different. But I'm already realizing it might be too similar to his thing, and so that's more of an example of what you're talking about, where I'm like, maybe.
Well, as well, you do a lot of script. Oh, sorry, Lucas.
I was gonna say, just I get that feeling all the time of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, well maybe like yeah, I guess someone else is already doing this or making something similar, but at the same time, like I think it's so hard to strive for like complete 100% originality at this point. That it's like no, just like if you've got an idea, run with it, embrace it, and like figure it out because you know somebody's gonna always have something that somebody could pick up and say this is similar to your idea, but
Right.
hey, that's
Yeah, and like even his thing is technically predated. There's a Jenny Nicholson video, that was Suicide Squad sales pitch, that was 2 years or a year or
Yeah.
something before his. So yeah, I mean, you're
That's
right.
like it's an old bit in comedy as well to do that as well. That's been around since like the 1930s as
Yes.
like in stand up of how did. So I think I've been watching The Amazing Miss Maisel with my girlfriend, and they show you like hackneyed comedians would go, "Oh, here's how I imagine the pitch for the Gettysburg Address went," and it's like that exact thing of just pretend like being a smarmy pitchman on that.
So what's funny too is just along that, the closest I've gotten to it, we actually have a writer who does a lot of stand-up comedy, and he wrote a big great article about joke stealing, and one of the things was talking about parallel thought, and sometimes it's nobody's fault, it's just people have the same joke. And then I released a video talking about fictional money in fictional movie universes, specifically Harry Potter, John Wick, and Star Wars, and why the way that money works there is weird. And then he reached out and was like, "Did you rip off this article?" And he had another article where at one point he says something about the weird fictional universe money of Harry Potter, John Wick, and Star Wars. And I was like, what the hell? How? I don't even understand.
Yeah.
It's literally the exact same 3 movies. I mean, I guess maybe I saw it, or I was like, here's all my pitches from like 2016 when I was trying to get these articles written. So like I promise.
Yeah, I had that exact same thing with Cracked, where it was I think it was animals who talked, and I remember because it was inspired by a article I read, I think like NPR or Smithsonian, about a seal or some other creature that lived in an aquarium, and it learned to vocalize in a way that sounded almost human. I think it was a beluga whale.
Okay.
It vocalized in a way that sounded human, and there was reports from divers that would go in being told to get out of the pool. And it turns out it was a beluga whale that had learned to vocalize from copy. And it's like that. I thought that was really interesting. So I Googled other animals that sounded like they were talking, pitched an article idea, and then I think a day later, or the day that pitch, or the day after that pitch, there was an article on another website with all those entries in them. Because clearly someone else had read that NPR or Smithsonian article about this and thought, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if there's any other examples of that.
Right.
And that's what always sticks out in my head because it was the exact same entries and it looks like I was trying to rip. And I was like, same as you, I was really paranoid. And I went through like my entire pitch history for that week. Look. It's not me trying to rip off their idea. Here's me like building the idea in like another part of the forum and stuff.
Yeah, it's wild. Also, I think I had a brief syncing issue. So I'm just going to go ahead and note this, that at this time, Lucas, if you're listening to the audio, that there was an issue that predates this. So like from this point on, it should be fine. But there was something iffy.
Okay.
A few minutes ago, so I apologize.
That's all good.
Well,
I'll try and figure that one out.
Okay.
That's where all the fun stuff comes in. And someone in the chat just mentioned, because yes, we are streaming this live on Twitch, just asking about like collaborations with like Simon Whistler. And the thing is, he's just busy. A lot of the people that I know, like Simon Whistler and Daven from Today, I found out everyone's really busy, and then I have no real connections to anyone else in this world because I'm just so insular. And also, I'm really far away from everything.
Yeah,
there's not many British like fact YouTubers that I'm aware of, except for Simon Whistler. So there's no one else we really collaborate with in like this region.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Virginia, so like there is quite literally, I would assume, no one else doing this, and so that's part of the reason why collaborating with you is basically the same as even just my coworkers who all live in like New York City and stuff. So
yeah,
just power of the internet, baby.
It's been really fun, and maybe that's something I can work towards doing more and more. But for me, I'm too much of a nervous boy. I'm too set in my ways to do this. And yeah, I guess we can bring that up because obviously the video is going live now. I'll mention for the people who are watching this live on Twitch, we're going to do Q&A in a couple of minutes. But me and you, Luke, we have an announcement, don't we? We have an idea. Because you've done some stuff. Yeah, you had an idea. So would you like to just clarify that idea? So if people are in chat, they'll ask me, we'll go through those in a bit. And if you have any questions for Jordan.
Karl, you're asking me in very vague ways to describe something. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. So you might have to help me.
Okay. Well, you've made the podcast available on more platforms, yes?
That is true, yes. As of now, it is like available on Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Still, like the Apple Podcast website is not loading for me, so I'm working on that, and hopefully when it sorts itself out, I'll get it on Apple Podcast very quickly afterwards. But
yeah, Tim Cook wants nothing to do with us. And then the other one was it's a follow up from something we mentioned last week. So I apologize, Jordan, you're going to be just out of the loop for a quick minute, but we were talking about like we can do subscriptions for the podcast, and we thought we asked for feedback on that and thought about the best way to implement that.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucas, do you want to just mention or just explain what we've the solution we've came up with?
Yeah, so like both Karl and I got contacted by quite a few people as we asked for of like I'd be down for subscriptions. That was like kind of the overwhelming opinion is like I wouldn't mind subscriptions, but like some people had caveats and this bit and that bit. But what we've decided is to kind of keep the weekly episodes as is, apart from the fact that we'd move like the Q&A section to like a bonus episode monthly, and that would be available to subscribers only, and then all of the other, regular weekly podcasts will be the normal time as is, free for everyone.
Yeah, so I think, I'm not sure if you've done it yet or you will be, but you'll be setting up like a dedicated email address. It's like if you want to ask questions for the channel, and that way, cause I think when we do Q&A, we can't often go into as much detail as we'd like. Sometimes it's at the end of a 2.5 hour long podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That way we'll be able to like go in depth and just answer a whole bunch of questions in like one go. Go as in depth as we need to answer stuff. And it just gives people who want to support this podcast, because there's no real way for anyone to support Fact Fiend like monetarily at the moment.
And maybe like sponsorships might be a bit more of a thing now that we're going on some more podcast providers and stuff like that. So maybe that's more of an option now that I'm, putting it on more platforms, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe more people will reach out. But like once a month, we're hoping just do like a grab bag, just let a time of just however long it takes. If people have got stuff to ask us, or just pick our brains about a certain subject, or ask our thoughts about a piece of media, because that's generally what we get asked a lot.
Yeah.
It's just, what do you think about insert thing? And it's like, we can't really go into much depth about a lot of that stuff. So that caveat out of the way, if people have some Q&A now, if you want to filter through, as we just do the usual, just letting people plug their stuff. Because I'm guessing, Jordan, you've got some stuff to plug.
Yeah, just go to Cracked YouTube channel is alive again, so please watch it.
And can you please, just, no one's going to believe me if I tell them this, I'd like you to please repeat one of the stated reasons that you want me to appear on the channel.
Which?
The one about having to excise old subscribers.
Oh.
Because this, I was howling when you told me this.
So one of the funny things, I mean, it's not that funny, but one of the interesting things about every time we put a video, this is the problem with trying to reboot a channel and its dead subscriber base. One of the reasons our videos sometimes can have a harder time cracking despite our huge subscriber number is because every time we release a video, somebody will get 50 people to unsubscribe almost immediately. And those are kind of probably people that we want gone anyway, because they're just dragging down our numbers. And so we were saying, maybe if we put Karl on here, this format will be so different. we'll churn through people even faster. We'll get 300 people that unsubscribe.
So your aim of getting Karl on the YouTube channel is to just delete a significant number of subscribers, right?
Yeah. They're collaborating with me to get less subscribers. When I can do that because there's zero pressure. If anything, if the more people want to subscribe, the better I'm doing. And I just burst out laughing when you told me that. I went, okay, yeah, I can do that. If there's one thing.
At some point, we got to whittle it down, all the dead weight, and then rebuild it back up with the people that are excited about the new stuff, or even the people, anyway, whatever. They get it. I mean, there's just so many subscribers that don't want necessarily, or like have forgot that they subscribed, all that stuff. And so anyway,
essentially people that have like not signed up for the new style of content, and you want to keep the people that want it and get rid of the people that don't.
And because there's a lot of people that want it that don't know that they want it yet, because YouTube freaking hasn't told them yet. Because there's every video, there's going to be people on this video, what the hell, Cracked is back, it's so different. And then they'll unsubscribe because
why is there a British guy on it? Why is it so stupid? Why are they not sticking to a script?
Right.
And we had that same thing with our channel. We still to this day get that, because one of the new things that, not new, it's been like a year now, but one of the new series we had is Wiki Weekends, and it's literally just we read from a wiki page, because I think on a podcast, once we go through a lot of wiki pages, wouldn't we, Lucas, just to read through them?
So the origin was like, we went through the Wikipedia page for like Pokemon Go, I believe it was, on a podcast, and then Karl just went, hey, we could do this like on Fact Fiend as a video instead, and that's kind of where that came from.
Because there's just something very amusing about the very matter-of-fact way Wikipedia and wiki pages present facts. Like with Pokemon Go, one of them was like, oh yeah, there was a lot of trouble with people sitting outside of like hospitals and things like that, and fire engines couldn't get to fires because people would sit outside the firehouse because it was a poker stop. Yeah. And just seeing that written down so matter-of-factly was really funny, and then we riffed on that for about like, I think half an hour.
Something like
that. I decided, oh, that could be a good idea if we just read a wiki page and then riff on it for 20 minutes, because most of what we do is improv anyway. And still, I think something I wanted to mention to Lucas before we started recording is the Spawn video went out today.
Oh God, I forgot. Oh,
and
no.
I've already gotten messages from people saying you didn't do your research on a video that is us literally reading from the wiki entry on Spawn.
Right.
And it's just
the
stuff like
entire
that.
purpose is like a blind read of the page, essentially.
Right.
But there was people telling us, "Oh, you got this fact wrong." It's like, well, if we got it wrong, the wiki's wrong.
Right.
And people are accused of not doing our research. Like, there is no research. We're reading the wiki page and then reacting to it.
Oh,
Right.
I'm not looking forward to the comments on that because we just made fun of Spawn for 15 minutes. It's like, oh,
And I
the edgy
distinctly,
fans are going to come out.
and I distinctly recall one that happened to us was, I think we did the wiki entry on the Fire Festival, and the overwhelming response we got, like feedback wise, that reached us, besides just like regular comments, was you stole this off of Internet Historian because they covered this topic as well. And my response to that is, if us reading from a wiki entry sounds like someone else's video, chances are the person whose video that you think we sound like also probably just went and read the wiki entry and changed the
Right.
words. Like, what's more likely? That Wikipedia ripped off a YouTube video or that a YouTuber rips off a wiki? Because at least we're honest about it when we do it.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite comment is people always ask me if I've even seen the movie. And I'm like, I mean, even if I get stuff wrong or whatever, it's just funny. It's just like,
no,
it's
I
like the
decided to
number
write
one.
about Saw movies, but didn't watch any of them. Yeah.
Right. I'm sure I'll get that. I'll have done an hour and a half recap of Saw movies, and they'll be like, "You didn't even see 6 because in 6," and I'll be like, "Well,
And it can't be that you just half remembered something because, you know, like the human mind isn't infallible. It has to be like a deliberate attempt to mislead. It can never be an honest mistake. And we get that constantly, don't we?
And half the time it'll be like, so, I was talking about John Wick coins, and one of the things that the directors has said is, it's the coin is more valuable when John Wick hands it to somebody than if somebody hands it to John Wick, because it's like sort of reputation based or something. But they don't really explain how that works. And so somebody was explaining to me how it's actually a favor based system, and it's this huge comment. And I was like, is that in the movies? And they're like, no, it's insinuated. And I'm like, well, then I'm not wrong.
Just like you had a different interpretation of it than me.
Like, we can have an argument and disagree. That's fine. But to say that one is wrong when there's no factual backing to the freaking John Wick universe, which is
very serious.
Yeah.
Very, very serious.
Anyway, it's just funny. It's interesting making this stuff. I try and be really active in the comments because I think it's actually fun to discuss things like that maybe I didn't notice or whatever. But there's a lot of people that are just there to be upset.
Yeah. That has happened many a time with me, because like we we have a thing of no requests, no suggestions, because the whole channel is improv, and I feel like the best way to work with that is if it's something you care about, and spontaneity is the just the heart of what we do. So doing something that someone else tells us to is not fun.
Should I be letting you pick the topics then?
No. Like, that's the thing. I love improv. It's how I got my. It's how I cut my teeth, and that's one of the things I thrive on. I love just having this podcast. We have no subject. We just go in and we talk about whatever we feel like. Sure. And I really enjoy that. And like in regards to the Wiki Weekends, we're constantly being told talk about this character, but neither of us have any attachment or affinity for that universe. There's nothing. We're not going to have fun talking about it.
We could do it, but it would be very dry.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Just like, the entire reason that we can do wiki videos, I guess, is just that, one of us at least is like, gives a crap about the subject and can make the other one give a crap about the subject because we're friends and we have that like relationship with one another.
Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, that's the thing that's like hard to convey, which is, I would say 80% of the time, if I'm making fun of a movie, it's a movie that I liked.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't think about it if you didn't like it. That happens with us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm making fun of, Fast and Furious or whatever, but I very much enjoy Fast and Furious. Like I don't, the only reason I've thought about it this much now, Saw might end up being an exception, but in general, like, people are like, oh, you're just shitting on this movie. I'm like, I love this movie. That doesn't mean it's not goofy, because all movies are basically pretty goofy.
It's fun to talk. Like, if you didn't like it, you wouldn't want to talk about it.
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Like, even in the case of, you say, Saw, where you might not necessarily enjoy those movies, but you must enjoy something like about those movies in order to get that thing going in your brain to want to talk about it in the first place.
There's something really fun to me to try and parse together that crazy ass franchise with it's so convoluted and so disgusting and so it's as a piece of culture I find it fascinating. Whether that means I enjoy the minute to minute watching of it, not as much, but I'm still kind of glad that I did because I don't know. I just like knowing things, I guess.
Yeah, and it's it happens with us in regards to like when we do playthroughs and anything we talk about. It's always, do you even? I think one that stuck out to me is, do you even like this game? And I forget which game it was we were playing, but like we had a playthrough where we just highlighting some like the smaller, just minor issues that you might not notice on the first playthrough, but as a fan of the series who's played it multiple times, it's like, I think it might be like Prototype or something.
I was assuming so because we constantly say how much like this game has problems and is a total 7 out of 10, but it's a 7 out of 10 that me and you both really love and have affinity for.
Yeah, and we like throughout the series, we're talking about how much we love it, but then singling out issues like, oh, if this was better or if this was handled in a different way, it might improve the gameplay. So do you even like this game?
Right.
And I think that just sums up how binary in media criticism has become, where it is you have to either just give it unrelenting praise or you don't like it. Because the whole idea is like, if you like something, you should be able to criticize it. And people who don't like it, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't bother criticizing it. I'd just not watch it. I wouldn't want to talk about it if I didn't care, if I didn't want it to be better.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite articles that I've read in the past few years is AV Club had an article talking about how much he's not a fan of guns, but he loves them in movies so much. And he's just like, he's trying to wrestle with the tension there, which is like, he doesn't really believe in guns, but man, he loves when guns are in a movie. And I think that's a very American issue. I think it's something that we all struggle with.
Like vampires.
Right.
and werewolves. Not a fan in real life, but in movies they're all right.
That's true.
I won't want a vampire in my house, but in a movie, if it's in someone else's house, that's all right.
See, yeah, not enough people are taking that nuanced approach to vampires that you just did. They're too
Daybreakers,
binary.
man. That's why I love Daybreakers. It's not even that I like vampires or vampire lore. I just like interesting takes on vampire lore. Like I always bloody talk about dog soldiers, just because the idea of just no fuck it, it's soldiers fighting werewolves. It's such an interesting concept.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we've riffed for long enough. So Lucas, if you have any Q&A in your chat, any questions that people might want answered, and if not, it's a nice easy day for us.
Yeah, not on my chat, but
okay.
Just somebody asked like in my Discord.
Okay.
Is that essentially like an interesting meal that you can think of, or like something that stands out food wise that you've eaten it like maybe recently or maybe in the past, like just a notable meal that you can think of?
Meal?
Or maybe just an item of food, I guess.
My girlfriend she's from Japan. So she went to Japan recently and she brought back fish and chip flavored Pringles, which are Japanese only. And I was like, why are Japanese people eating a distinctly British flavor? And I tried them and these don't taste nice.
God.
So she has like a lot of weird stuff like that. Not weird, I guess that's probably the wrong descriptor for it, but like, just novel.
Yeah, I love looking at the Japanese flavors of stuff.
The Japanese Kit Kats.
Yeah.
What have God wrought?
My brother-in-law is from Brazil, and for Christmas this year, I wasn't sure what to get him. So there was a subscription, like a box service that sent snacks from all over the world. Yeah. And so it's like mostly nasty, but there's some kind of fun things in there, just like, strange flavors or whatever. It was kind of a fun thing to try. I think it was called Munch Addict or something.
Sliced. It could have been sliced.
Which apparently doesn't exist. I can't find it.
Yeah, we never got an answer about the pizza.
We never got an answer to what pizza do criminals eat. Maybe I
freaking dreamed it. I don't know. Maybe it never
dreamed that someone stole pizza from me. That's a hell of a dream.
Yeah, very specific.
Yeah, like for me, one thing that doesn't necessarily stand out to me as like the best thing I've ever eaten. But just having like a burger where the bun is glazed donuts, like the
No,
heart attack
no,
burger,
no,
and
stop that
man,
now.
like it sounds wrong, but it feels so right, Carl.
Don't even talk like that. Is just an affront. So all that is good and holy. I refuse that knowledge. I refuse to have any of that. And someone in my chat mentioned beans on toast. How is that weird? That's like a snack. It's the perfect snack.
I mean, Jordan, maybe you can weigh on this. Is like baked beans on toast a weird thing over in America?
They have the different beans. I found this out.
Yeah,
Baked beans are different in America.
Oh,
they're pretty strong flavor. So
Yeah.
I don't know that you would want that on bread. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure it would
they're a
taste
different thing.
fine, but I wouldn't do it.
okay. So
That's how I had this mystery solved by my girlfriend. It's like baked beans are different in America. They're like for barbecues and stuff.
Yep.
As opposed to over here where they're in tomato sauce as opposed to like a barbecue smoky sauce.
Right.
So that's why
Yeah,
whenever
yeah.
you say beans on toast, people assume you mean those kind of beans. Or Americans think, oh, barbecue beans. Like, no, there's a specific thing over here. It's haricot beans in tomato sauce specifically.
I guess that's similar to like the whole thing when British people say I'm dunking biscuits in my tea or coffee,
And
and then Americans like
those small cake-like things that you get,
Right.
or
That's funny.
chips, where chips for you guys are crisps for us, and chips for us are fries. But then fries are their own thing because chips are thicker than fries. But then you can get
Right.
thick cut fries, and then you can get thin cut chips, and then you get crinkle cut chips. Then you get waffle fries, but then you can get waffles which are different because they're potato that's mashed and then formed into the shape of a waffle.
Wow.
I thought a lot about all this. I think
like-
too much about all this.
I think you have way more options on the fry front than we do.
100%. Yeah, like fries is just a category of potato chips over here. Like where as we get like the crinkle cut, the steak cut, the waffles, like the fries. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get the steak cut, which are really wide. And I don't know why you would want fries that are wide, but
we
they
have that
taste better.
option.
We have the option for wide fries.
Wow.
If we want
you would
to.
think that would be something America would be
Yeah, you'd think.
in.
But no, like Britain is just leading the way in just the fried potato category.
I'm gonna say, Carl, like of all places for Britain to be like in charge of potato snackery, I think that's quite apt.
Yeah,
Britain to be at the top of that game.
So we've even got into like you've got wedges.
Yeah.
Then on top of wedges, you've got roast potatoes, which are different from wedges because they're cooked in goose fat.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like the level of just fried potato technology in the UK. It's like we lead the world in it.
Man, I really want to get like
gotta have
an
something.
air fryer. People are raving about air fryers.
I'm scared to get an air fryer because I'm scared that once I've got it, I'm going to put everything in it. Someone in chat's asked, so what you're saying is a thick cut fry is just a thin cut chip. No, it's not. They're different.
Mm-hmm.
They are different because, and that's the thing, it's hard to explain why, but they are different.
They are.
It's like, have you ever seen the argument that went down online of hot chocolate is just a warm milkshake? It's like, it's not. Yes, it's chocolate milk and they're served at different temperatures, but if you served me a warm milkshake as a hot chocolate or a cold hot chocolate as milkshake, I'd know. I don't know how I'd know, but I'd know. I'd know the difference in my soul.
Milkshake's got to be thicker than like.
Would you like Nesquik mix?
Yeah,
there's
like Nesquik.
There's like a way to whip it or
into
something.
hot milk. Yeah, that's the one. If you put Nesquik into hot milk, that's not a hot chocolate. That's just hot Nesquik. And at the same time, if you put like Cadbury's hot chocolate mix into cold milk, that's not like a milkshake. That's cold hot chocolate.
Plus, like any good milkshake, like any milkshake that deserves the title of milkshake has ice cream in it. So.
I'm not having any. And this is like, you know what? This is another one of those discussions, Luke, that we could go on for like 4 hours. And we would if Jordan wasn't here because he's got no fucking clue what any of what we've just said is.
I know, we just have like milkshakes and French fries. We don't have all of these varieties.
There's so many. And no one's really mentioning something in my chat. There was no Q&A. So, someone's happy to have frozen hot chocolate. No. Stop that.
Well,
I don't like this.
Chocolate anymore.
That's like a baked Alaska, innit? It's like cooked ice cream. Stop it. It's like, okay, we could end on that though. Like the food that just breaks physics, I don't trust it. Like, have you seen you can get like fried Kool-Aid in America and stuff like that? They fry liquid.
I'm not aware of this.
They do it at like county fairs. Like that's like fried butter.
Fried butter, I've heard of.
Fried butter. They can also do like fried Kool-Aids. I watched this show called Fry Masters because I love crap reality TV, and it's about people who work in county fairs trying to compete to who can fry the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Oh, I'm famous because I'm the guy who invented fried butter." And everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's the guy who invented fried butter!" And he looks exactly how you'd expect the guy who invented fried butter to look.
Then again, like, you know, in Scotland, they were responsible for the deep fried Mars bar, so.
And the fried pizza.
They are so unnecessary.
The fried pizza.
I did have the thinking yesterday of like, I got, you know, those cheap like microwave pizzas and was like, I've got some burgers. What happens if I make like the burger with the pizzas? I didn't do it, but it was just the thought that popped in my head of what if I have like a sandwich with a burger in the middle and 2 pizzas? Just the abomination.
You get a job at Papa John's.
That's like that. Did you see that SNL sketch where they, I don't know, I think it starts with a taco and then they wrap it in a pizza and then they like drop it in a bag full of salsa and it just like continues to expand. I think it's like a taco and then a pancake and then a pizza and then it just keeps going forever. Anyway,
There's so much food that's like you look at it and go, God is dead. It's like, what is it? Like the taco that instead of a taco shell has a giant Dorito.
Yep.
And you just look at it and go, that looks tasty, but we can't. We can't do this. We can't let humanity peak this early. There's still too much art to create. I don't want it. But yeah, if no one in my chat is asking questions, we can end it there. But thank you for joining us, John. It's really appreciated.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And yeah, everyone in my chat, go check out Cracked right now. Go to crack.com. Or will it be on the website or will it be on the YouTube channel?
It will be on the website. It's easier to get to from just YouTube.
Yeah, so YouTube or the website, you can find a collaboration between myself and Cracked featuring Jordan. That's hopefully going to be an ongoing collaboration between the two of us. And on Fact Fiend, there'll be something going up soon. Actually, it might not be soon. It could be in 3 months. We don't know. Because we're so far ahead on content because me and Jordan recorded something.
Oh, you guys have recorded something.
Yeah, okay. For the regular channel.
There's an announcement tomorrow on the channel. I know that.
About that, which Jordan is in, yes. But then there's just regular articles that we've recorded that he's in, but there's no telling on when they're going to go up. That could be months from now. The future. So look forward to the future.
Agreed.
Excellent.
So I've stopped streaming.